Greetings. In case you haven't heard, I am your Queen Love Bug number one. Welcome to my village, where everyone gets taken care of and no one gets left behind. I wanted to take out a little time just to share some of my thoughts today. As many of you know, I was sick all week as much as the stuff was going on with the George Floyd case. And I just want to take a moment out to reflect on a few things as we continue to seek justice. Justice for George Floyd, and not just today. It's imperative that we remember when the trial come up for these individuals, for us to be right there, standing in the gap and fighting for just as much justice as we are today. Because the trials probably won't even start right away. But we're going to get down to the meat and potato things because I had some of you asking me some questions, and I will answer as many as I can. And let's keep in mind that the laws may be a little different from state to state, but at the same time, some things are just wrong, and it's not even about it being a law. It's morally just wrong, and it's not correct. Welcome to the Village, G Kicks, my brother from North Carolina. Hello, how you doing? Much love to you, G Kicks. Sizzle Diaries. Hey, sis, how you doing? Much love to you, sis. Out and about, just saying what's up. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, my brother. And shout out to G Kicks. If y'all don't have G Kicks, he's a very nice person. Make sure you hit G Kicks up and check him out. He definitely treats you good. And so do Sizzle Diaries. And she also cooks. So check him out if you don't already have him. I pray for your recovery, sis. Thank you. Thank you very much. I thank you all for your prayers. Oh, okay. I got to come check your page out, G. I've been a little sick, so I didn't get a chance to really float like I usually do, but I'll be around the way in a minute. But let's get back down to the meat and potatoes of why I'm here. I'm here because as a people, sometimes we need that voice, someone to say what's wrong and what's right. And many times we look for the elders that have been fighting for civil rights from day one. And sometimes they're just too old to still be out here carrying the torch. And we have to assign some of our youth the responsibilities of keeping it going. And I had a couple of people ask me, well, why are they going hard on the other three officers? They didn't do anything. It's not their fault what he did. So let's talk about it. If you are in uniform, you're on duty. And when you take a pledge to protect and serve, that is your protocol when you're in uniform. Are we all in agreement? Yes, right? So now if you see an officer, he can be your own fellow co-worker breaking the law, especially if you're in uniform. It is your responsibility and protocol to protect that citizen. Stop that officer. Hey, that's not what we're trained to do. That's not what we're taught at the academy. And you know that's excessive force and that's abuse of power. And if you're standing by and you're watching, let me repeat that so we can keep up with one another. If you're standing by watching, then you're guilty by association because you didn't stop the act. So now let's ask that question again. Should those other officers have been arrested? Very much so. Very much so. Because they were in uniform and they failed to do their job. They failed to follow protocol. For someone to be on top of anyone, not even compromising their breathing yet. We're talking about on top of you for 8 minutes. That's a long time to be on top of someone. If you have not restrained someone, 4 people, in 8 minutes, you need to get back to that academy and be retrained. We're not even going to talk about fire yet. Let's hold the badge a minute. When you see someone that comfortable in what they're doing, what is the chances that that's the first time they've done it? Keep up with me now, because I don't want to lose anyone. Because I want to be fair, and I want you to understand what is going on. Why no one would rest until these other officers were also arrested. Now, when this young man expired, his life was struck down. He didn't expire because of health reasons or anything else. In the middle of this entire pandemic, he did not expire. His life was struck down. Let's call a spade a spade. This man leaves behind a wife and a child, a family. What if that was your loved one? Would you want justice? Or would you want everyone to turn a blind eye, which happens all too often, and they get pushed up underneath the rug, and someone else becomes a victim? By these people being taken off the street, no, let's not say these people. Let's back up a little bit, because let's be precise. By these police officers being taken off of the street, it makes life a little bit more comfortable for some folks. Yes, I said it. Because at least we know they're not out there still violating people and doing the things that they were doing. And now I want to talk about the person who did the recording. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Love, love, love. It takes an almighty person to put themselves on the chopping block, that whatever come their way, they're willing to accept to get justice. That's what you call a real one. Someone that said, you know what, this is wrong, and I'm going to record it. And not only am I going to record it, but I'm going to report it. Because sometimes we record stuff and we don't never report it. We just show somebody, look, this is what happened. And they keep getting swept up underneath the rug. So to the person that recorded and reported, thank you. And no, I do not know George Floyd in person or personally, but I have brothers, I have uncles, I have nephews, godsons, grandsons. And this don't just happen to men. Let's be clear. There's quite a few women that have been done this way too. And many times, once they're arrested, we simmer down. And we forget about the real justice. And when these people go to court, it's a slap on the wrist most of the time, 9 times out of 10. So it's imperative, people, that when the trial comes up, we continue to be diligent in getting justice. That we continue to stand in the gap with the family and fight for justice. And not just for George Floyd. He's just one person that has been unjust or unjust. There are so many more. And it's time for us to stop pushing it under the rug and being fearful. Because you know something, when you stand in fear, then people can continue to mistreat you because they know you're not going to stand up for anything. And you know what they say, if you don't stand up for anything, what will happen, right? Right. You'll fall for anything and everything. And you know, my parents always told us growing up, don't be a person that's talking loud and you're not saying nothing. Because that happens all too often. And that's why I haven't been saying too much all the while. Because when I speak on something, I want to be talking about something. I don't just want to be ranting and raving and looking crazy. But when you're talking facts and you're talking about what actually makes sense, then that makes it all the more different. And just imagine you leave your home where you have a beautiful family and you work diligently so hard to provide. and be the best human being and citizen that you can possibly be. You don't bother anyone. You greet your neighbors. You say hello to your coworkers. You do a good job, and you leave your job headed home, because now you're going back to your loving family that you worked so hard to provide for. Woo-doo! You get pulled over. You get out the car, or they say stay in the car, whichever way it works. And just that fast, your life is struck down. You never got a chance to get back to the house. So now what goes on? Okay, Sizzle Diaries, but what happens from there? Whose responsibility do it become to get justice? Whose responsibility do it become to make sure this behavior stops? Because it's not just about getting justice. It's about stopping the behavior. Now let's go to the police departments. You're a sergeant, you're head sergeant, you're captain, you're doing roll call, you're hearing the things going around the precinct that someone in here is not right, because we hear these things. We know who the ones that's not right is in any job. So let's not just act like we don't know when we got somebody that's a dirty cop working on the force. And 9 times out of 10, that dirty cop don't even hide their dirty cop because they've been getting away with it. You've been covering up their mess. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. Any job that you're on, if somebody on this job is out of order, we know they out of order. We may not say anything, but the buzz around the office is not doing the right thing. How many times have someone complained about you? How many times have your own coworkers said they don't want to work with you because you out there in them streets doing stuff that make it people struck down? Come on now, let's call a spade a spade. But my thing is this. Now you find out that an officer or some officers from your location has caused an infraction to someone that has caused them to lose their life. What do you do next? Do you decide to say, we need to make sure this doesn't happen again? Or do you decide to say, let's cover it up? Now let's go outside of the precinct, because now there's someone that's in charge of the precinct. You came from somewhere, you didn't just fall into the precinct, right? So there's someone that's in charge. Higher up. How did it bypass higher up without them saying, not only do they need to be fired, but we need to put them under arrest. Send them white shirts, get out there and go get them and bring them in. This shouldn't have took for the whole entire United States of America to become outraged and would not stop until someone was arrested. It shouldn't have took that. So I want to say to you higher ups, you need to do better. Now let's go on across the street to internal affairs. Because internal affairs, I always looked up to you. Because I always felt like when the precinct and the academy and everywhere else fell and dropped the ball, the plazas, wherever the police are coming from, there's a little bit of hope with internal affairs. So now I'm not here to bash you. I don't know what came over your desk and what didn't. But we all got eyes and can see, right? And we all been watching it all over the news as well as the internet and anywhere, anything that you can turn on through social media. So what I'm trying to figure out is, as an internal affair investigation, what was your protocol? What did you do to say, okay, we need to bring these officers in and find out what's going on and make sure that this whoever it is get justice? Everyone, not just one person, get justice. So my word to you would be, make us feel safe. Make us feel like we can respect those that's out here to protect and serve. Make us feel that we can follow the proper protocol when we're being addressed by an officer. We shouldn't have to feel if an officer approach us, start fighting for your life. Because now we're putting officers in jeopardy because of fear. When the citizens start to feel like if they come up on you, you better fight for your life because you may not make it out. That's never good. Not just for the citizens, but for the officers either. Because all officers are not bad. Let's be clear. Just like all citizens are not bad. And this is not about bashing police officers. Because there were just as many police officers out there marching in them uniforms that was doing their job, but deep down in their soul, they wanted justice too. But they had to follow the command of their officers or their uppers, their captains, and so on and so forth. But I promise you, some of them standing in that uniform were standing there saying on the inside, I'm just doing my job right now because I'm with y'all. I just can't step off this line in this uniform. And then there were some that went down and they took one knee in uniform. And that was their way of saying, we're not too far from you people. We understand your outrage, but we are in uniform and we can't be on that side with you. So how do we keep our officers safe as well? Because when people start to feeling like nobody's doing anything, you're making the officers unsafe. And then when, as an officer, you come to work to do your job, and now you're fearful because somebody else's actions done made people start to act out towards officers. Now you're fearful, and some of your actions out of being fearful may be jeopardizing citizens because you may shoot faster than you need to because you're scared. So it's not just about bad cops. Some of them are just as scared as we are of them. Because so many have done so many bad things that some of them are looking at the situation and feeling a little intimidated also that, hey, they might decide to do something to me because of this fellow officer's action. So now we got to get peace as well as justice. And how do we do it, people? How do we get back on the right accord? How do we get back where we can respect one another? How do we begin to be able to look at those that should be in authority and respect authority without feeling we're going to be abused? Good question. And if you're watching this on the playback, please leave a comment. Let me know, how do we get back on track as a country, as a United States, as well as international, all over the world where there has been so much police brutality? How do we begin to get back on the right track? Greetings, Alex, though. Welcome to the village. You're in here at the right time. I'm actually talking about being able to digest everything that happened with George Floyd, as well as so many others that has been unjust or unjust. And be able to cope, as well as be in support of the families, as well as all of us that still have to continue in life and be able to respect a uniformed officer that's given us a order or here to keep the peace. How do we go back to being able to respect them without feeling that we have to fight for our lives and maybe even assist someone else in fighting for theirs? Because at some point, when we're seeing someone being taken advantage of, we're feeling like, jump in, help them. Don't let this happen anymore. We should not stand by and watch someone be abused. And when you're having the camera rolling, people, we need to learn that we can make citizen arrests also, because it's live streamed and someone is recording it. I'm making a citizen arrest on you, officer, because you're out of order. And we need to remember these things, because sometimes we don't even think to make a citizen's arrest. And we do have the power to do it, even to an officer. But sometimes we don't know what to do in those moments. And that's why it's important that we talk about these things, so we can have awareness and we know our rights and we know what we can do and we know what we may not be able to do. Hello, James. Welcome to the village. The law of the world was never put in place for the advancement of so-called colored people. Okay, and explain why. Why do you feel that way, Alex? And we're talking about this because it's imperative. It's important. You know, we talk about a lot of things that don't matter, but then there are things that do matter. And I always say, what if this was your loved one that didn't make it back? What if this was someone that you knew and cared about and they didn't make it back? You have a child that is going father or motherless because of something that could have been controlled. At no point in time was that young man resisting. You're not resisting when you're laying saying you can't breathe. And I want to see how this unfolds in the court of law. And that's why we're talking about it. Because I hope that when this do come to trial, it will be a judge that will look and say, we're going to do the right thing. And whoever was involved will be held accountable, because there are consequences for your actions. And even more so when you're in a uniform, because we're looking for you to be held at a higher standard than an average citizen. You're trained how to go about doing what you do. And I think that all officers need to go back to training from time to time just to be refreshed. And not just in combat, but in how to go about talking to people and having courtesy. Do you know how to be courteous when you're talking to people? Because that can preserve lives also. Just knowing how to talk to people, how to handle people, how to communicate. From Alex Doe. The action perpetuated in today's time isn't something that just happened last week with the killing of George Floyd. It's been happening, and it's still happening today. And you stand correct. You stand correct. We can go all the way back to when the civil rights first started, and it was even before then. But some of us that's a little younger can probably remember the civil rights if you don't remember even further back. And during that time, it was just so much being done and it was just wrong. And at some point we thought things would get better. And here and there it did yo-yo and get a little bit better, then it got back on the wrong track. But it's not going to stop unless we decide that we're going to stop being this way. You know, I'm one of them people that I try to do the right thing for the most part. I've grown into that. But I have had officers try to rough me around, and I had to let them know, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. And, you know, it's bad when you have to let somebody know, I'm not doing nothing wrong. Don't put your hands on me. And sometimes you just don't turn out well just by saying that. Don't put your hands on me. And sometimes it can be little or nothing. People are not always doing something that requires to be shot or killed or beat the crap out of. And women is not always exempt. And if you don't believe me, Google up some women beat by officers and you can watch one behind the neck until you're dizzy. So my answer to you, my question to you, Brody, Alex, though, would be, matter of fact, call in, Alex, call in. There's some things that you cannot, to me, really talk about in comments. It's just too much. When one group of people oppresses another group of people based in law that they created for their own personal gain, it cannot be defined as equal justice. I agree. Welcome to the village. Hey, greetings. I wanted you to call in because I feel that some questions are more than a question comment in the comment box. It's just too much to really get into the depths of what you may feel. And you know, we both have spoken about the subject offline briefly because I was sick. And you know, we both don't like to talk without having real concrete information, just ranting for no reason. So today, you know, he was being laid to rest. And I feel a little bit better, and I decided that I wanted to come on here and just talk to the universe about what happened and not allowing it to be a way of life. How do we stop this behavior? But I want to backpedal a second, and I want to ask you, how do you feel about this act that took place to not just George, but a lot of brothers and sisters that have been done this way?
My personal view is it's wrong, and as long as people not only don't say anything, but don't do anything about it, it's going to continue to happen. I mean, George Floyd is not the only black man that just been killed, and they thought they was going to get away with it. They've been doing it, and even after his, they failed doing it. You can go on the news today and see somebody else killed by police officers. I was at Parkway Center last night. They was itching to bother somebody. As soon as it got close to 8 o'clock, they didn't bother to say, okay, it's curfew time. They start pushing you, kicking you, throwing you down. Get out of here, go home, curfew. They didn't even give people a chance to say, okay, it's almost 8 o'clock. It's a curfew in place. They started beating people up as soon as they got close to 8 o'clock, pushing people down, facing people, hitting people over the head, all kind of nonsense. Which resulted in people hitting them in the head with bricks. Somebody stabbed the cop in the neck out here in Flatbush, took his gun from him, shot 2 of them. They ended up killing him. My thing is this. They was not being violent last night. They was just out there protesting. New York State laws say you have a right to demonstrate and you have a right to protest. Then they got other laws that knock those out of the box. You can't do it without our permission. You have to ask us. You have to get a permit to do it. Or if not, then we will arrest you for unlawful assembly. So if I have a right to demonstrate and protest, where do unlawful assembly come in at if I have a right to do this to voice my concerns for equal justice?
Hold on one second. Hold on. Welcome to the village, 10 Vales. Welcome to the village. I'm going to talk to you in a minute because I see that you put something up about Sandra Bland, and I'll have you call in with that next. But welcome to the village. Okay, sorry about that.
Even the way they went about trying to, fabricate a false autopsy report that he was on drugs and had a heart condition. Then the family had 2 independent autopsies done, and they said, no, that's not what happened.
Right.
Okay. Why was they trying to cover that up? Then they arrest one officer, give him the lowest charge in the world, murder in the third degree, which he used into a plea and get probation for it. That's not first or second degree. Even with the second degree murder, I feel that's not fit too because that was an intentional death. You did that on purpose. It was premeditated. So that's murder in the first degree all day. Then they said as a lesser included offense, they also charged them with manslaughter. That's doing nothing but setting it up for him to get a manslaughter, and that's his first arrest and get probation. What calmed a lot of people down is that they arrested the other three officers. But a lot of times they do this as a means to pacify the public to prevent you from further protesting, to give the impression that we are doing something about this. How many times do you see these officers get arrested and then the grand jury or the court, which is another part of the department, say we don't think there's enough evidence to convict them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why it's important that when this comes to trial, that we stand in the same behavior and be out there outside of those courthouses protesting and marching and saying justice for this man and every other one. It may not, but it might.
Like I said, last night people was just out there saying no justice, no peace. They started beating them up. Even the public advocate, Jamani Williams, he's a city elected official, and he was saying, yo, they was just overreacting. They was beating people up for nothing.
Okay, but let me say this before you continue, because I got to go back and figure this out because I'm not sure, and I'm glad you said this because, you know, I was talking with someone about this. What is the law for protest and curfew? Because I wasn't clear as to when a curfew is in effect. Should the protest end before the curfew is over?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Because, like I said, when it got close to 8 o'clock, they didn't say, well, getting close to curfew, everybody started dispersing. As soon as it got close to 8 o'clock, they just started pushing people, knocking people down, hitting people in the head, beating people. And that's what caused the ruckus out there. So they saying, let's be peaceful, let's not be violent. I don't understand how somebody can act violently toward you to then advocate for you to be peaceful. It's not going to happen. How you beating on somebody telling them, but don't do none of that?
Hold on. 12 Vel said, I don't believe it's going to trial. I was shocked they arrested each cop. This is going to trial. This is going to go to trial. They have to send this to trial.
Even if it's going to trial and they do like they've been doing, find them not guilty. Look at the police officer that choked Eric Garner. It took 5 years just to remove him from the police force, which I don't believe he's not working no more. And they found him not guilty. So department-wise, they just said, okay, we fired. It took 5 years to do that, and nobody went to jail. And most of the time, this is the way the outcome is. Now, people are getting sick and tired of this. So now they out there acting up. They burning, they looting, they fighting back, they doing all kinds of things. So now what they doing is they using the intimidation of threat. They got National Guards, they got the military, they got the police out there, and people honestly are at a disadvantage because when you put your hands on them, you definitely going to jail. When they put their hands on you, they act like nothing happened. They'll put their hands on you and you'll defend yourself. Now, mind you, they say you have a right to self-defense. But when it comes to law enforcement, if they put their hands on you and you defend yourself, you will find yourself in jail for a very long time.
Okay, hold on. Welcome to the village, Juliet. Thank you for coming in and thank you for the love. I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you, Alex, because you made a very good point when you said when they put their hands on you, it's okay. But when you put your hands on them, now you have caused an infraction that caused you to be beat down, arrested, or worse. We're going to put it like that, right? So now my thing is, as a civilian, how do you handle yourself when an officer is violating your rights? What do you do?
Actually, within the law, there is very little, if anything, that you can do because keep in mind that these are the people that make the law. So you're going to have to make a conscious decision if you want to just take one for the day and do what you have to do. Because they didn't make no laws to protect you. They made laws for them to profit and capitalize and do what they want to do. They don't have no laws that saying if an officer is doing X, Y, Z to you, you have a right to defend yourself. So when an officer is beating on you, and there's 1,000 other officers standing there, nobody is arresting them, nobody is stopping them, nobody is saying nothing. That tells you that they are not for you.
And this hasn't just started because I can remember being a child, and I'll never forget this time we were outside and this man had did something and the cops was arresting him and he wasn't fighting back. He was, surrendering, and they just was beating all over him. And I remember our father just jumped out of nowhere and was like, y'all stop it. Leave that man alone. He ain't fighting back. Leave him alone. And we're looking like, Daddy, no, don't get involved. They're going to be beating you next. But when he started yelling at the cops and they turned around and they seen him and he was saying, you abusing your job and your badge and stuff, they stopped. And I do believe sometimes we have to do that as civilians and citizens also. Like call them out on it, cut it out, stop. But yes, they do.
Somebody be going upside my head and somebody telling me, no, don't act violent. Don't act violent. I can't just stand there and say we shall overcome and somebody put in my mind. Oh, but that's the law. You can't assault an officer. No, he's assaulting me. I have a right to defend myself. Well, he's an officer, you're a civilian. Who you think they're gonna believe? And that's always the story.
I always wonder, when a person are really doing the right thing and they finding themselves on the ground, if they had wished before they hit that ground, they'd have went to fight and defending themselves, take somebody out with you. And it's bad when you got to think like that. Y'all gonna get me in the end, but somebody going out of here with me. I'm not just letting you take me out with no fight. It's too much fighting.
500 years for people to decide, you know what, that's it. We're not having it no more. You beating on us anyway. You killing us anyway. What are we trying to safeguard and save? We trying to just be nonviolent. We being passive. We not resisting.
Amen.
We still getting being killed. So you know what? We
Amen.
just gonna fight back now.
Amen.
And now that is costing them when they stand up and everything that they gotta spend money to fix. Now here come the National Guards and the military. Threat by intimidation. Just shoot them. Just shoot them. Just shoot them. So when somebody is given a direct order to just assault or kill you, then you're at the point now. If I go out here today, I might have to do my thing because the government is telling them to kill.
Correct. And then what starts to happen next is the civilians start to attack.
Just out there. You've been out there, and most of them people are kneeling down on one knee. Ain't nobody did nothing wrong. About 5 minutes to 8, they just start kicking people, pushing people, going upside their head. Curfew time, just start beating on people. Now you got elected officials that's supposed to represent people. They was out there, and one of them said, "Yeah, I was here. I saw what they did. They was just doing too much. They didn't give people a chance to get up and start moving out or nothing. They just attacked them as soon as they got close to 8 o'clock.
And many times they break the law.
To respond non-violently when somebody is coming at you like this.
Many times the law is broken. If you have a right to protest and you have the proper paperwork that you have went and got taken care of, saying that, okay, between this area and this area is where we're going to be lobbying and marching. You have a right to that. I was arrested in the proper protocol of a march because they just wanted us to leave, and we had the proper protocol and we would not leave. And they went to Mason and spraying and doing all these other things, and then we would get away and we would come back and finish. And then eventually they started arresting us. I won't say the name of the high profile black activist that we were under at that time in Brooklyn, New York. He know who he is. He was arrested right down there in front of the courts on Skimmerhorn Street. And a bunch of us was taken under with him because we wouldn't stop. Even after they took him into the paddy wagon, they had to pull up more paddy wagons and trucks because we was out there going off. So they took us under. Now, here's the thing. You know how they knew they was wrong? We never went before a judge, okay? That's how you know when they know they have broken the law and they broke protocol. They held us, right? And they tried to intimidate us. But we wouldn't shake or shift because we knew we had the rights of what we were doing. And that's why it's imperative that you know your rights when you're doing anything. Make sure you understand what you can and cannot do.
These people out here, they exercising their rights according to what the law mandates is possible for them to carry out. 90 people got arrested. Not one of those folks that was beating on people, kicking somebody downstairs, hitting somebody over the head, got arrested.
You better know it.
All these police officers out here that just start abusing people.
Hello, Tika. Welcome.
None of these other police officers saw this stuff happening and tried to stop it or arrest it. You know?
Right. It goes back to what I said.
Protesters, that they wasn't the ones that was even fighting. You just figured it was time to go. It's close to 8 o'clock, and you just start kicking people, shoving people, knocking them down, facing them, going upside their head. So now, when the public advocates saying, I witnessed this stuff happen, you think anybody was saying, well, let's look at the footage and let's arrest these officers?
But let me tell you, they had us under, right? And to show you how powerful we had become, they was outside that precinct hollering, no justice, no peace, so loud you could hear them through the bricks. Inside. And after a while, they were sick of them out there because they would try to make them leave and they would come right back. And they would stand out there because they was like, let him out. He didn't do nothing wrong. Free him. Free these people. And at that point in time, I was comfortable. I sat down and I just was like, when they let us out, they let us out. When they let us before the judge, they let us before the judge. But after a certain time frame, they came and they said, well, you know what? We're going to release y'all. Y'all cannot go back over there protesting and y'all have to go home, right? So when they first released it, most of us, they still did not release the high profile activist that was out there fighting for justice. We would not leaving him in jail because they let us go. And we stood out there and we kept going and we kept, saying, let him out, let him out. So they decided they was going to take him before the judge. We went right back around there to that courthouse and was out there raising up saying, from the street, yelling for them to free him, let him out. And eventually, after hours of inconvenience, we saw him coming down the steps of the courthouse. And we all felt like, okay, he's out. We continued to protest. When you believe in something, people, and you know you're doing the right thing, if you're going to stand behind something, be willing to go down all the way to the ground if you have to, if you know you're doing the right thing. Because there are going to be times when you're going to have to just stand up for yourself. And it don't mean being a bad person. It means that you are doing what you have to do. Because it's not always going to be pretty when you're fighting for justice. Tika, I don't speak your language.
What's making things a problem now is usually when somebody protests, they threaten you and intimidate you to the point that you're afraid to do anything. If you get any type of benefit from the government, they take it back. If you live in somewhere government funded or get your help from the government, they kick you out. If you working somewhere, you lose your job.
Yep.
So a lot of people saying, well, you know what, I got too much to lose. I'm just gonna mind my business.
Yep.
Then you always got the people out there protesting. They got one another or two anything. So they need everything. Now that you got millionaires saying that they get arrested, I'll bail them out. Now you got so-called influential people stepping up saying, you know what, we tired of it too, we support them. See, now you can't just say we rich corporate America, we can do what we want. Because with all of these people coming together saying we're going to help out, their money is just as big as yours now. Now, when people are looting and stealing and burning things down, people are saying, oh, they burning down their own community. First of all, you don't own nothing in your community. You renting for space, you paying for water, you paying for utilities. Somebody else that came into your community and set up shop. They taking all the money out of the community. So actually, you have no community. You just renting space here. But what they started to fail to fight is when they start burning down all of these places that's making billions of dollars a year, saying that we're gonna keep going until y'all do something about this. Now, even with all the weapons and guns that they have, they still threaten. They say, well, if they stop us from making money, we're not gonna win. Now they give you what they call what I call a political pacifier. They promise you they're gonna do better, and it works for a week or two, and they back at it again. And people are realizing this. They always say they're gonna stop. They always say they're gonna reform this. They always say this. They always say that. But there's somewhere in this world they got something else that left a loophole for them to keep doing what they want to do. And it's crazy.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I want to say this because this is something that 12 Bell said, and I want to address that as well. The public advocate is a black male. He doesn't have any power. How do you feel about that?
She's right. He don't. He's just a person elected to advocate for the community. As like I said, as a pacifier. If something happens, don't just go off and tear up anything. Talk to your borough president and talk to your public advocate and let them bring it before us, and then we'll decide what to do. Let's be clear that these elected officials is the subordinates of these white people. These are the ones that employ them and give them a paycheck. You're not going to get out there and do with so much or say with so much to jeopardize your paycheck. Your job is to just be the middleman between us. You keep them calm. We tell you what to do. We tell you how to carry it out. And if it don't work, you move to the side and we'll take care of it. Your job is to keep your people in place. Simple.
That's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. And I'm glad that you stated that, Bells, because a lot of times people don't understand these things that we're talking about. And that's why I came on today, just to, give people a little awareness of exactly how things be going on and going down so they can further understand. Even as a police officer, and you're on the job with someone that's corrupt or doing something they don't have no business doing, you have to remove yourself from that environment or do something about it. Because if you're standing there and you're watching a police officer taking advantage of people and doing the wrong thing, and you're still standing there, then you deserve to get the same consequences, because when you're in uniform, you are a part of what's taking place.
The police commissioner was saying that these officers are out here, they defenseless, and they shouldn't have been attacked. Number one, they not defenseless. They the only ones out there armed to the teeth. So they just don't tell somebody these are defenseless people who just got attacked. No, they beating on people. They macing somebody's mother. They kicking somebody's grandmother downstairs. They what's in your arm, beating you up with nonsense. You're not defenseless. All of y'all are out here armed. This dude stabbed you and he took your gun. Oh, well, he shouldn't have done that. What are you doing to people when they get to the point that I got to fight for my life now?
Exactly.
But then you turn around and say these officers are defensive. They the only one out here that's armed. Ain't nobody came out there and just jumped on a mob of police officers for nothing.
All I can really say is that when it gets to the point where you start to feel like I gotta get out of this situation, it's just like when you're out in the streets, and it's bad when you have to even compare uniformed individuals to the streets. And you coming through your hood or wherever you live, and you know you got to make it home safe, and you see those, coyotes out there, and you say to yourself, "Uh-oh, I'm on the wrong block, and I'm gonna probably have to let it loose on this block to get on the other side of this block." And it's bad when you have to look at a police officer that same way when you see them like, "Uh-oh, today might be that day that I have to fight my way up out of this situation."
A lot of people say it's not a race thing. And on some level, I beg to differ. A white person can walk through my neighborhood and won't get stopped. I done been through plenty of white neighborhoods and they jump out on me. You live around here, you got the ID. What you doing over here? First of all, I don't have to give you a reason in regards to why I'm somewhere in New York City. Are you accusing me of committing a crime? Did somebody call you and tell you that I was participating in a crime? If you're not taking me into custody, I'm free to go. Have a good night. So why would you stop me if I'm out in Bensonhurst at 1 o'clock in the morning? You don't see me doing anything. I'm walking towards the train station. Do you live around here? I don't have to live around here just to pass through this neighborhood.
Right.
What are you doing over here? I'm traveling. I'm minding my business. Do you have probable cause to stop me, arrest me, or take me into custody? If not, I bid you a good night and I'm going to continue on my journey. And sometimes they say this fucking asshole or whatever, pardon my French, but I just get on out of Dodge. But like I said, white folks can come over here and walk through here whatever time of day they want to. Ain't no police officer gonna stop them and ask them if they live over here, what you doing over here.
Hold on. 10 Vales, I see your comment. Do you want me to drop the link so you can share the screen with me? Let me know because I'm gonna get my charger. So when I come back, let me know if you want me to drop the link because I do want to get your insight. I see you writing some stuff to Alex in the comment box, and I would rather you be able to talk to him and he talk back to you. So give me a second, everyone. I'm going to get my charger so that I can charge out. I'm coming, guys. Okay, let me read what Vels has said. She didn't say whether she want to join the screen or not, so we'll just continue on. But she said, excuse me, guys. Alex don't know the system will never destroy itself. If you feel you get fired, if you real you get fired, excuse me, they don't allow you to make change. You have to go along with the group, everybody in the same bed. It's like the Kanye West video where everybody is in the same bed, in a huge bed. Okay, we're going to continue on because I'm still stuck at when things get this bad. Like, how do we recover? How do we begin to go back to trying to have an average every day? How do we do that?
To look for a recover period is worthless. As a black person in the United States, you can't find no period in time when somebody ain't had their foot on your neck. So a recovery time would take you so far back that many people have no idea of who and what they were. Even in the police department, if a black officer is with a white officer and he do something when they type out that report, he agree to it. He don't want them looking at him sideways. He want to be down with the department. He want to be known as the good black guy. And sometimes he'll outdo them just to show them that he's down with them.
Yes.
Yes. So they notice the stuff that's wrong, but they don't want to say nothing because that's a means of them to take care of their family. And they also getting some perks with the department. So they just overlook it too. Call them for a witness about something that happened to you. They'll say, no, I can't get involved in that.
Yes. And have you ever witnessed where you see your own brother and he's out there trying to harass you more so because he want to prove that, look, I'm doing what y'all doing too. I'm not trying to, help the black man. So I'm over here throwing him down and knocking him around and let y'all see that I'm down with the movement.
They worse than they are sometimes.
You better know it.
Worse than they will. Just trying to show them, look, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I put the link in the chat. So if you want to join, press on the link and we'll take it from there. Yes, and they will. They will beat you down to the ground and step on you, spit on you, and tear you out your clothes just to prove that, look, we're down with what's going on. We're going to, beat them up and mistreat them also. And 9 times out of 10, that's the one that's going to get elevated because they looking at them like this is a good person to have on our team because they black. And if something goes wrong, they'll be standing next to us to be able to say, no, because I'm black and I was there too. So you have to be so careful when you think that you see one of your black people that's going to save you because that's not written in stone either. Hold on. Welcome to the village. Welcome to the village, Vales. I asked you to come on Alex. Because Alex, she can't hear you. Speak up a little bit. Vales.
Can you hear me?
Okay, can you hear Vales, Alex?
She ain't saying nothing right now.
Can you hear Alex, Vales?
I can hear him. I can hear both of you.
Put your volume up on your device. Okay, say something. Don't just put it up. I got to see if I can actually hear you. Okay, what we're gonna do is since you may not can hear him and he may not can hear you, but I have both of you. What we're gonna do is, if you have a question that you want to shoot at him, shoot it at him, and he'll answer the question because I do believe you can hear him, but you're kind of low. I don't know why when someone come on the stream, they have been low. Hold on, let me see if I might.
Well, what I wanted to say to Alex is since he said he
Okay,
had been
hold
in the
on.
protests in Brooklyn.
Okay, say something else,
I was,
because I
you know,
think
I'm
I
in
can hear you.
Harlem.
Okay, I hear you now. It was my device. It was my device needed to go up on the device that I'm streaming from. So can you hear her now, Brody?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to get down to the meat and potato of things, because each and every one of us have had some type of interaction with advocacy. Let's say it like that, in one form or another. And that makes this even all the more better, because it's experience on the table, not just someone ranting and raving all over the place, but someone that have been in attendance, hands-on, and up close and personal, to understand what takes place when you're going through trying to get justice, or trying to make sure that people's civil rights are not being violated. Is there any question you may have for Alex at this time, 12 Valves?
Yeah, I wanted to know, did he see a lot of white people? Because when I was here in Harlem, there was an overwhelming amount of white people in the march, and I was like, "We in Harlem. Where are these white people coming from?" You know, and they didn't even all look American. You know what I mean? Like a lot of them was like foreign looking, and they had
You know why?
they
Because
had
a
their
lot of the white people are getting sick and tired of being sick and tired too. It's not just us as the black race that's sick and tired of the injustice. A lot of them are sick and tired. They're sick and tired of watching people be mistreated. And for the first time, I was proud to see white people out there taking a stand at our side, saying, like, come on, this is starting to become a nuisance now, and we have to get out there and join them in seeking justice. I was very honored myself to see that take place. But I'm going to let
So I wanted
Alex
to know,
go.
did Alex see a lot of white people, and how did
Well,
he feel about that?
Okay, Alex getting ready to answer you. Go, Alex.
because, like I said, basically every day I'm out there, and I've spoken to some of these people, and their take is various different levels. Some people said that they just tired of it. They know it's wrong. They privileged whites. They don't experience what we experience, but they just tired of people being killed for nothing and getting away with it. Other people are saying, well, as law enforcement that's doing a lot of this stuff, and you do have some white supremacist groups, when they rise up against law enforcement, being that the majority of them is white, they might start attacking all white people. We want to be known that we don't support everything that these corrupted cops do. So when you start paying things up and getting back at people and fighting and killing, we not the one doing that. It's them. We are white, but we not doing the stuff they doing, and we out here now because it shouldn't have took this long. But we saying this is wrong. You have to stop doing it. So basically, they saying, you know what, they put us in a position where y'all gonna fight on them, and because we white, y'all gonna fight on us too. And a lot of us don't have the means to defend ourselves. And the police department now is looking at them like they going against their own people, bust them upside the head too.
Okay. So how do you feel about that, Val?
They knew that it was wrong. Some people said it's accepted within their family and this is how they was raised. But at this day and time, they do see something wrong with it.
I feel that because there were so many white people still breaking the curfew, that's the only reason why they were still out there. Because if it was a bunch of black people, I feel the cops would have beat the hell out of them and put them in a paddy wagon. But because it was so many white people, they kept trying to say, go home, guys, everybody go home. Because they don't want to show, even on video, abuse to the white man. Okay? Because the girl that they threw into this curb was non-white. You heard about that story about that girl that they threw violently into, like, she wasn't white. She wasn't white. let me see them beat the hell out of some white person. And they said that the white people were the one giving bricks to the black people to throw them. They're just trying to get photo ops, negative images of black people. But when it comes to the white man, they ain't trying to get no negative pictures.
Where they protesting that? Who's bringing these piles of bricks just setting them in the street? I ain't got no means of getting all these bricks to
Welcome to the village pool. Okay, let me say this because you know, I didn't see what was going on in Harlem and Brooklyn, so I can't really account for that. I didn't see it. But did you not see any white people being taken under or beat? Because I've seen footage of it happen in other places.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
Because I've seen it on video. I wasn't there. Right. And
I was at Union Square. I was Lower Manhattan at Foley Square. I was at
Union Square.
I was in Brooklyn, Flatbush Avenue by Prospect Park. And I would have to be honest. If them white folks out there, they getting the same thing we get. And I've even been in places where they jumping on them faster.
Because they feel like they shouldn't be here to advocate because it doesn't concern you. Why are you helping?
Them pictures I sent you, do you see how many? You can look in that picture and see the proportion of white people to black people. It probably was about 7 of us out there, and the rest was white.
That don't make no sense to me.
Explain why.
Because it was a black man that was murdered by a white cop. And I just don't understand why there's not a really huge outrage. I think people have gotten desensitized to the whole issue. Like, I think we just so tired because, first of all, we had the young man who was jogging and the father and the son killed him. Then we had the woman who was in her bed and the cops came in without a knock order and killed her. And then we get this one, George, and I just think these people are overwhelmed with the violence that's taking place during this Rona time. I mean, we've already been in Rona time. Why the hell is a cop bending on the person's neck? That's so close. I thought we were supposed to be distancing each other. It's something shady going on, you know?
I look at it. They say keep your friends close and your enemies even closer. In my opinion, all them white folks ain't out there for no reason. I think they in place for a reason.
Yes. But what's the reason?
What would the reason be?
They gathering information. They providing them with information of who the real troubleshooters are of these organizations. And as history shows, when they get rid of the head, the body always crumbles. Them people is not out there, in my opinion, most of them. Maybe it's some of them that's sympathetic towards people being abused of any color, but it's just way too many of them out there champion a cause that's not theirs and that they've been supporting all their life.
Okay, so let me be clear. What you're saying is that you don't believe that there are actually a great percentage of white people out there that are genuinely promoting, let me stop saying promoting, advocating for justice.
I don't.
Okay.
Me neither.
Okay.
When we get to the protest sites, it's stacks and stacks of construction bricks. There's bottles with gas and handkerchiefs in it in certain locations. And if you ask me, we don't have the means to move all of this stuff around. So who putting all of this stuff in place? I mean, all these bricks and stuff in front of all these stores. We don't have the means to orchestrate this stuff. When we get there, it's
And
already here. So when you start acting out later on at night, all the stuff is already there for you. Who's providing all of this stuff? Not none of this stuff.
And we don't do Monte Carlo bombs either. We don't make them bombs.
No, but that stuff is already out there. The gas bombs, everything is already there when we get there.
Wow.
But they out here harassing somebody else, but you don't see somebody planting all this stuff around here so that somebody can tear up something and light fire and all that. You've been out here all day. You ain't seen nobody leaving all of this stuff out here?
Welcome to the village,
and for some
Malachi.
reason, the white folks know where every last bit of it is at.
Wow.
But Alex, remember when they put the white flag on the Brooklyn Bridge?
Black, the Spanish, and other people that are running there and get it. But when the first started, the white folks got all of that stuff to tear this stuff up with. How you know where all of this stuff was at? And who's putting it out there? If the police is out here all day and all night,
that is a good
where
question.
did somebody get some time to plant all of this stuff in these areas?
Right. That is a good question. Who's putting it out there? Where's all this stuff coming from? That is
Like
a good
why-
question.
you don't need to buy all of this stuff.
And the other thing that doesn't make sense to me is if they so upset about businesses and stuff, why hasn't Hollywood Boulevard been destroyed? Have you noticed that it's just like the low-income neighborhoods that's building that some places getting messed up? Downtown Brooklyn is mainly utilized by blacks. So all of the places, Fordham Road, black is Hispanic, is all minority neighborhoods. But if we going everywhere, why haven't they hit Hollywood Boulevard? I was like, oh, it's in Los
Hold
Angeles.
on. Give me a second now, because I want to speak out on this, because I spoke out on this from my sick bed. If we're tearing down our own communities, we have to take the charge for that. You understand? Because if we're going outside our door vandalizing our own community, we can't push that on nobody but ourselves. And we have to learn to leave our community with the drama. Yes.
People, when I tell people about, you live in Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, you destroying and tearing up your own community, their response to me is this. They say, and tearing up your own community. Their response to me is this. If you don't stand up for your own community, their response to me is this. If you don't stand up for your own community, their response to me is this. If you don't stand up for your own community, their response to me is They said all these racist people come into the community, take all the money out of the community, won't give nobody in the community a job, and have the audacity to follow you around when you come in there to spend money like you stealing something. They said, so if you support the community, treat us a little better too, because we the ones that's making. We the ones running around trying to buy all of these designer clothes and designer labels with money we don't got, and then you treat us like crap. That's why you need the tax. You just like the police. But my thing is this: stop going in there. Then they say, okay, fine, but for right now, we gonna get them on out the way too.
Okay. So now my thing is this, because, when I look at people, you all know I don't see color. I see people. And I deal with people based on the way they carry themselves as a human being. And how do we coexist with other colors without carrying hate? How do we do it?
It's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of sincerity on behalf of all people. I don't think because one police officer killed somebody that I would say every last one of them is bad. Now, I've had some tell me to my face I know what they did to you is wrong, but I can't say nothing about it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm telling you what they did is wrong. But they're not going to come forward and tell that. They'll tell me that what they did was wrong. But there's nothing I can do about it.
I want to ask Bells a question.
I need to secure my paycheck and keep taking care of my family. I know what they did is wrong, but if I say something, then I don't have a job. So I'm just not going to say anything. But it's getting to the point now where people saying, you know what, everything is locked down. Half of the world ain't working. Everybody's waiting for some type of money. And I ain't got nothing anyway. So whatever you're going to take, you done took it already. I might as well do me. Which may not be the answer, but when somebody is angered, frustrated, and the people that you depend on to do the right thing for you and everybody else is doing everything to work against you, now you between a rock and a hard spot. You feel that you don't have no meaningful options. You a problem. And you respond to that out of anger and ignorance. Not all the time. A lot of these people are well organized and well planned. Whatever they doing it for a reason.
You better know it.
But some people are out there and they just be acting out of anger, frustration, and some of them is ignorant as hell. They don't have no idea what they do. You got a lot of these people over here. They saying, I don't care if you burn down my eyeglass store. I got insurance. Burn it down.
I want to ask Bells a question.
Burn it. I got insurance. Burn it. Burn it to the ground. They know that whatever goes on, they protect it. Me and you ain't got nothing that got no insurance on it. So if they burn our stuff down, we just got to start all over again.
I got insurance. But I want to ask Val questions now. And the question that I have for you, Val, because I notice that you do have a lot of frustration. And I want to understand your frustration because part of having a panel is being able to, understand each other and better understand what someone is feeling and what their experience is, because each of our experiences can definitely be different as Black people. And the question that I have for you is, what have your experience been like with dealing with white people? Or do you even have any kind of relationships with white people?
Well, what I would say is that one of the experiences with a white woman, she was Jewish. I had been talking about Trayvon Martin and the Zimmerman case, and she said, "Oh, I'm not familiar with that." And I thought that was so outrageous that she didn't hear about that when it was all over. You know what I mean? About Trayvon and Zimmerman. And I had to process that for a minute. And then I thought about it and I said, well, I don't think about the Holocaust, and I don't know prominent Jewish leaders in history. You understand? So I said, well, there is a reality that it's a possibility that there's a disconnect with all of us when it comes to culture. But I do think that we can all maneuver and work together, and the way to address things like this situation is to be specific about the case scenario. Like with this particular case, George Floyd, we have 4 officers, 4 of them. So we want to get all 4 officers that was involved and be specific about them. And I think as long as we focus on those cases, because I was very disturbed during the Obama case, during the Obama era. And the first time when he was running for office, I was very involved with getting people to understand he's running for president and that he's a good candidate for president. And people were saying to me, they're not going to vote no black man in. And if a black man gets in office, they're going to blow up the White House. I mean, it was so many, I mean, it was so much false stuff going on about Obama. Even just the idea of him becoming in office, they felt America wasn't going to even be open to that. And then he got in. But I'm telling you, when he got into office, so many black people got killed.
But he did an amazing job. Let's not forget that. Because it's one thing as a black person to get in, but it's another thing as a black person to do an amazing job. And, you know, as a sister, girl, I have to say that Obama did an amazing job, the entire family. And it's an example of being able to do the assignment that you came to do and do it well. But at the same token in time, you had indicated that it was some people that were out there, some white people that were out there that were advocating for blacks, for justice for blacks. And you couldn't believe that they were actually in attendance to advocate for blacks. But I wanted to say this to you. You do have some white people out here that are just like me. They don't see color. They see human beings. And many of them have black grandchildren, black nieces and nephews, black neighbors that's playing with their children. And sometimes when you don't see that, because that's not your experience, how you live your life, you may not understand how some white people can actually be just as outraged and upset as we are at racism.
If that's the case, it took all the way for the year 2020 for any of them to say anything.
But where do it start? It starts somewhere.
Overnight, they just decided that they want to champion my cause. Almost 500 years of abuse, then overnight, you just saying, you know what, this is wrong. So it wasn't wrong last year. It wasn't wrong the year before that. It wasn't wrong the year before that.
Okay, but where do it start? It have to start somewhere.
Okay.
But what I was also saying, though, I
want to make a point first. My point is, sometimes when it comes to white people, they're darned if they do and they're darned if they don't. When they don't try to help out those white people, when they do help out those white people, where do they get a break? Like, if even when they're doing the right thing, they're still being stoned. How do you be able to advocate for a race of people?
You have to show and express sincerity.
But how do you do
Anybody
it?
with common sense know when somebody is around them for their own personal reason. I don't think that all white people are just saying, well, you know what, let me just go over here so I can have something to put on Facebook, so I can have something to be seen. Like you said, some of them, they have to deal with interracial situations, and therefore they get an up close and personal taste of what things is like.
Very true.
Your daughter's husband is black. You got biracial kids. People treating your grandkids strange and doing stuff to them. Now you see what it's like, and you don't like it because this is what you consider to be your family. This is my child's kids. Because their father is black, we treat them a certain way. You can't go certain places. You can't do certain things. As the grandmother, you can do it, but because you got biracial kids that look like me, now you got to start living a certain life. You got to move into a certain community. You no longer welcome in certain places. Now you get the picture that you don't like to be treated like this. I didn't do anything to anybody. It's just my daughter fell in love with a black man, and my grandkids is biracial. Why treat me any different? I'm still the same person. Why are you treating me different because of the makeup or content of my family now? And then after a while, it's not just one person. It goes on and on and on. And it's a lot of people in that same situation. So now, instead of saying, well, I got to pick a side, their objective becomes, you know what? It's not a side. It's one set of people. It's the human race. It's not black, brown, yellow, or blue. everybody should be treated the same way. Sometimes people's eyes become open when they forced into a situation. Sometimes people's eyes don't become open because they don't want their eyes to be open. You got people that you would ask, would you ever date a black person? No. Why? I just don't like them. Okay, do you know any of them? No, but I see them on TV. Okay, if you see them on TV, they act. And if black people is just not your cup of tea, they just not your cup of tea. But you don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to make a bunch of rules and regulations that say you allowed to advance, but I gotta stay being a servant. You shouldn't have a constitution saying that blacks are not considered to be human. They 2/5 human, 3/5 animal. Who in their right mind draws up a constitution declaring another human being as being 3/5 animal? And for people that don't know their history, you can go study this. That's exactly what it says. 2/5 human, 3/5 animal.
And when Obama was
hold on, Brody. Let Val say what she gotta say.
And when Obama was in office, they had so many killings of the black man because that was pushback. When Obama got in office, that is when we started the Black Lives Matter movement because so many cops started killing unarmed black men. It was ridiculous. And we had lynchings going on. And they did not put that in the news. There was lynchings going on. That's why we have the Emmett Till bill right now about lynching, and Emmett Till wasn't even lynched. And that has not been signed. So I would feel better if they was pushing for the president to sign the Emmett Till bill. I would feel better if like when I was looking at the funeral today, George Floyd, and we took the time to stop and just stand for over 8 minutes because that's how long the cop's knee was on his neck. I started crying. I just got overwhelmed with emotion, and I just don't feel that that these white people are going through it. I just don't feel it. I just started feeling overwhelmed and frustrated.
That was ridiculous because I've been going through asthma this week. Most of you know this. And my breathing was restricted because of a condition that had nothing to do with anyone's restricting it. It's physical. You understand? So I feel you when you say you cried because I've been laying in here sick, barely breathing. And just to imagine it's because somebody is causing that act, it's unhumane.
Yeah.
It is.
Everything in their power.
And then 8 minutes is a long time to be doing anything violent to anyone. 8 minutes?
8 minutes? That's crazy.
8 minutes.
What people don't realize, people say they want to forget it, they want to move on, they want things to be better. Yes, most people do want things to be better. I can recall when you couldn't shop in certain stores. You couldn't sit down and eat in certain stores. You couldn't go to certain schools. You couldn't drink water at the water fountain. You couldn't go to certain parks. And this is in 67. Now, if you go to the wrong hospital, they tell you can't be treated here. If you go to a certain place, they tell you, oh, this is members only. It's the same thing, but under a different umbrella. They doing the same thing.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I mean, how long can you be peaceful and passive and still is getting nothing out of the jail? You making all of these laws telling me what all I have to do, and I'm trying to play your game, hoping you will leave me alone and let me advance. Nobody is making no rules for you to follow that's going to put you on top of them. Let's be clear with that. True. People say, oh, Obama got in the White House, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. As a president, you have certain authority. A lot of things, you got to run it past somebody else. Even when Trump up, they got to run it past the Senate Review Committee. They got to run it past Congress. Trump just said, I don't care. I do it the way I want to do it. And the last result is send it back to me. I make the final decision.
Now, wait. Stay where you at, because you in the vein. Stay where you at, because you said something powerful just now and you moved too quick. Let's backpedal. Don't go too fast now, because people, it's imperative that you get the message, because there's a method to every madness. So I want you to backpedal, and I'm going to tell you where I want you to start back over at.
Not having absolute authority and power.
Right. Now, if a decision is going to come back to your desk, no matter what everybody else is saying, say that part again so that they clarify it, so they understand what's taking place when the decision lands back at his desk. Y'all listen up.
What I have to give to Trump when he got in there, he knew he didn't want to go through all of these different channels to make things happen. So he put it in place that the final say-so is mine. It's called executive order, and it has. So now he's safe. He don't got to ask nobody else about nothing. He don't got to get nobody's okay or permission about nothing. Because when I got this office, I made it clear by means of executive order, every outcome is my decision. And it passed. So nobody can say nothing. You agreed to this stuff. So if you don't want to run nothing past the Senate, hey, that's on you. If you don't want to run it past Congress, hey, that's on you. When he put this nonsense in place, you should have said no. We're not giving you absolute authority over everything. You put your paperwork together, you send it over here, you send it over there, we'll go through it, we'll make a decision, we'll get back to you. It should be no, and the last step is my desk. That means whatever I want to do is going to carry anyway, because nobody has the authority to override me. And that's how Trump carries. Okay, so now do y'all understand what's taking place when decisions are being made and they're trying to change some of these things that's going wrong, or the orders that's in place, but then everything that they're trying to change, it has to come back to his desk. And every time done in this administration, you better wait for the next election. Right now, he has executive power. What did he say when they didn't want to do that wall? I'll exercise executive power. And see, I'm glad you touched on it, because sometimes we forget to remember where stuff started going wrong at, or why it's hard to correct something that we know how to correct, but when it goes before a desk and they get overruled, it get vetoed out, there's nothing you can do. Even though you disagree with what's taking place, you're not able to push forth anything different, because when it goes to that last desk, which is his desk, it's going to get vetoed out. It's just like being in a family. You got the mother, the father, the grandmother. Who has the greater authority in the household? Mom, can I go outside? No. Dad, can I go out? Yeah. I told him, no, go sit down for real. You can go on outside. That means the dad got more authority in the house than the mother got. Right. Sometimes the grandmother got more authority. Why they sit in the house? Because they didn't do good on their homework, so they punished for the weekend. It's too hot. Let the kids go outside. Y'all go out and play. And they done got to went out and play. Now you the parent in the house. You the mother. The grandmother done jumped on you. Let the kids go out and play. Go on outside. So it's whatever you said didn't matter that day. Now they looking at you from the outside like, I done made it out. You're supposed to have power and authority. Okay, you do have some power and some authority, but at some point I will override you. But then you got other situations where I'm not going to be overrid on no situation. Let's be clear on that. When I get in here, it's going to be my way or no way. And he's been saying that since he got in office. It's my way or no way, or you got to go. I want this wall up. You ain't getting it. Oh, yes, I am. No, you're not getting it. I don't care if I got to make Mexico before. I'm getting my wall. Is that wall in place? Yep. We going to have to take a vote. You ain't got to vote nothing. I'm telling you that wall going up. Well, but that's because hold on,
Brody. Vels want to say something. Go, Vels.
And that's because he has money. Because when Bloomberg got into position as a mayor, he gave himself authorization to get an additional term. And nobody
But
else was
don't
able to do
forget, he
that.
bullied
And
most
that's
of that
because he
money
only
too.
let
Let's
you do
not forget
$1.
that part. He bullied some of that money.
Yeah, but whoever got the money, they bow down to them.
Let's call it like it is. That money got bullied up out of folks. And that's another thing. How can you have respect when you feel bullied? No one is going to respect anyone that they feel bullied by. That's just not going to be a positive situation either.
What people are doing now, based on how they see Trump handle people that go against him, they just biding their time, keeping their mouth closed, hoping that he get the hell out of there. That's what they're hoping for, because if they say anything right now, they'll be catching up with everybody else that says something against them. You see where they at, right? Fired, in jail, they got set up, railroaded, all kind of nonsense. Their careers is over. So people don't want this. This is the go along to get along syndrome. Well, you know what? I don't have the power to fight him, so I'ma just
let me just ride this wave and pray I don't fall off the surfboard until the next election, and hopefully we'll get him out the water and we can all have a smooth sailing. And you know, we all know that in everything you do is always going to be some hiccups. But my goodness, you don't never have a clear breath the whole time. It don't take a rocket scientist to know that this is not cool.
When Trump got in there, he know exactly what he's doing. He putting all of his key players in certain positions. So when he wants something done, he sent it to somebody he gave a job to, and they obligated. They're gonna do it. Everybody that was not seeing eye to eye with Trump when he got to that White House got terminated.
You know what's bad? Let me say this, y'all, and I hope somebody's sharing this out. But let me say this, that this is how I feel, and I don't talk about how I feel too much, but I want to talk about how I feel right now, right? And if you come from any kind of hood, you're going to feel me right now. As a citizen of any place, you should never feel like you're a part of a gangbang. When you start to feel like it's a gang, but it's just got a different name, if you understand where I'm coming right now, we getting ready to bang, y'all. And when we finish, this is going to be the results of what we doing. We out here getting territory. We out here doing this. We making moves. And this is what we doing in these streets. You should never feel like that's a whole nother form of being gangbang.
You know what I think would make policing a whole lot better in New York City? Instead of having these people drive in from Long Island and Pennsylvania and Jersey to come over here and terrorize your community, then go back home, I'm quite sure it's a bunch of people that live right here in New York City. Let them patrol their areas. They know everybody. They grew up here. They got a better understanding. Go back to your community and police over there. If the people that live in the area were the same ones you see in the supermarket, in the barbershop, in the beauty salon, walking their dogs, going to the cleaners, these is your neighbors. You don't consider them to be outsiders. Okay. That will police your community a whole lot better. People that live here, making sure the people are served and protected. Because these people coming from faraway places, they don't care nothing about your community. They tear it down and carry it behind home.
I want to ask Vels a question.
And treat people bad and live there and stay there. If
I want to ask Vels a question.
And stay in your community, now you're gonna be upheld to treat people accordingly. Because at the end of your shift, you can't get on your white pony and run back to Jersey. No, you gotta stay right here in Brooklyn.
Let me say this before you go any further. Alex, though, you are on point about the stuff from Malachi, but I want to ask Vel a question before you go any further, but she is on the panel. And I want to ask you, Vels, because you are in New York City, am I correct? Vels? Vels, what area of New York City are you in?
Yes.
What area of New York City are you in?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Manhattan.
Okay, which side of Manhattan, east or west?
It's Manhattan.
Okay, well, let
Oh,
me
yeah,
just say,
Manhattan.
okay, I want to ask you something. In Manhattan, on
On the
whichever
east.
side, you on the east side, okay. During the time of the marches and protests and everything that's been taking place, have you seen any of your community, like the people in your immediate community out there, or have it been people from everywhere else? Or have it been your community?
It's been a lot of no. It wasn't. It's not really my community because the march on Madison Avenue, and they were already coming from
Hold on.
I
Turn
guess
down whatever
Foley
device you're on.
Square.
Turn your device
So
down.
they moved and they moved to go to one.
Feedback. Turn down your device. You have a device, turn it down because your device is giving you an
No,
echo.
I only have my cell phone on.
Okay, stay like that because now you're not echoing. Go.
I only have my cell phone on.
Okay.
Yeah, I only have my cell phone on. I don't have another device on.
Okay.
But
so now we can hear you.
So what did you hear when I said they come from Foley Square?
From where?
You heard me when I said they come from Foley Square?
Oh, okay. Explain where that is.
Foley Square. That's in Lower Manhattan.
Okay.
That's in Lower Manhattan near the Brooklyn Bridge.
Right. Okay.
And then they come up to Harlem. So they go through Madison. They go through Madison Avenue. So they're not from my neighborhood.
Okay. Now the next question
they're not from my neighborhood. No.
Is were they the one that were looting in your community? Did you hear me?
No, there was no. We didn't have any looting in my community because we have Target.
Okay, but the Target in your community.
You heard me, the Queen?
Yes.
Yes. So it was boarded up.
Okay. Okay. So you were blessed enough where your community was not affected by looting. So now I want to take the question back to Alex Doe, and I want to ask him, were there looting in your community?
Yep.
Hey, Pooh.
See, the looting that I witnessed.
Pooh, if you want to come on the panel, press the link. Okay, go, Alex.
The looting that I saw appears to be outside influences, but once they got the tan stuff up, then people in the area follow suit. But the initial breaking up the glasses and lighting fires, these people ain't from around here.
I understand that. You know, I was upset when I seen the communities being damaged because I know as a minority that, you know, it's going to be an aftermath and it's going to affect everyone. But I also understood the outrage and the anger and everything that they were going through and feeling, you know, as far as what took place and what has been taking place. Because as I stated earlier, this is not an isolated incident. Let's be clear. This isn't something that's just started this year or last year. Let's be clear. This has been ongoing for years. It's just that people have got to a place where they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And
but
once you get there,
if you live way in Catskills, New York, once you way down here, lighting fires and busting glass boards, they not protesting up there.
Right.
And when you look at a lot of these people that's been arrested for stuff, like I said, the majority of them not even from around here. So if you live 2 hours away or 6 hours away, I'm quite sure they protesting where you live at. Why you way over here?
Hold on, hold on, hold on. I had to break into my neighbor's house for breakfast. Who hit that link? Stroll up and hit that link and come on the panel.
Who said that?
Who?
Oh no, I'm gonna have to send her some cash out.
Right, we got to tap you, sister. We don't need you breaking in nowhere. We don't need nobody else getting in trouble.
Somebody asked me today to send, do I got cash out? They want to send me some money. I told them I ain't got none of that. Just hold it for me.
Right, something keeps tinkling all in my hair and earrings. But if you out there, too, stroll up and hit the link. Let me re-put it in because it might be done expired. And come on the panel.
Nobody out.
No, she probably talking about going over there to eat, but I want to know what happened to her community that caused everything to be damaged because it's important that.
Oh, in Chicago. They get the Chicago.
Okay, hold on. It's important that we understand, you know, what's going on all over the world, not just no one place. Y'all both are in New York, actually. Okay, hold on, Pooh. Okay, we got Pooh. Pooh. Say hello, Pooh.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Okay,
What's up,
she's
everybody?
here. Okay, 12, charge up. Hold on a minute, Alex, so we can get down to the meat and potato of what's going on with Pooh. Okay, Pooh, you know you're in the village. Welcome to the village.
Hey,
We
Queen.
want you to say where you calling from.
I'm calling from Chicago.
Where?
Chicago. Can you hear me clear?
Okay, hold on. Let me just bring you up a little bit more. Say where you from again.
Chicago.
Okay, you good now.
Okay. Yeah, I see you guys are blessed, but even on the part of Chicago, they damaged everything. I'm talking about Target, everything. I mean, it's hard. Like we can't even get like bottled water. It's bad out here. So we didn't go shopping the day before it happened. It's hard to get a lot of supplies, and if you're not privileged to have a vehicle, then you're already out here, So it's like it's pretty bad. I mean, now we have the police just like standing by, and then like if you're in another area, you have the state trooper, So it's kind of like due to the fact of money your area has, that's how you're going to get the um security that you need, you know. That's pretty bad. But again, they're outside right now. They're shooting each other. They're breaking into everything. They broke into City Sports. It got so bad that someone was actually like trapped inside. When they put the boards up, they was actually trapped inside. So
No way.
yes.
Wow.
I mean,
See, let me tell y'all, just when you think you have heard it all, I keep on telling y'all there's never a dull moment in this village. Just when you think you have heard it all, something else jump out at you.
But here's another thing, Queen,
and I got Alex on the phone. I want him to stand by.
And Chinatown, they got it bad. So all the black people, they're actually pulling them out their vehicles, stabbing them up, beating them up, and breaking their cars. So it's really, really, really bad out here. So I advise people to just be careful. If you don't have to go anywhere, please don't. Because the way they're out there, you have some looters. I can understand. I'm not totally against everything. I can understand black people as a whole. We're upset and things like that. But I do believe that is a better way to go about it because we're damaging our own neighborhoods. And it took a lot for them to actually create things for us where we do not have to go out of area. I own properties at different areas. So it's kind of like I'm blessed in a way. But a lot of people can't say they can drive somewhere else to get these supplies that they need.
Amen.
And now people are suffering because they can't afford it. They don't have a ride. And let's be realistic. Everybody can afford Uber. Some people don't even have a cell phone. People can stun all they want because stunning is a thing to do, especially on YouTube. Everybody act like they got it when they know they don't. But just to, feel accepted, they're going to make up things. But it's a lot of people, and that's the reason why they make stores in the hood, because you know and I know that a lot of people don't have a car to get anywhere, and then they come here and they damage.
Okay.
I mean, when I say they damage everything, it looks so bad. I actually pulled up on so many people and asked them that they need my help, and I would actually help them clean up for free. So with that being said, now we're having like a protest. People are trying to clean up, but the moment the cops go away, they're going to go back and go to those same locations, and they're going to repeat what they're doing now. They're taking the boards off and going back in, taking the boards off and going back in. So now you have the police in the middle of the street. Then they close the expressway down. Then they put up the bridge. So I just was racially profiled not too long ago. I was on my way to work, and I noticed all these, uh, uh I'm not gonna even say the race, whatever. I just know this other, okay. They get to pass. And I told the guy, I'm like, this is my form that shows that I go to work and blah blah blah. That's why I'm out here this late. I have my suit on and everything. And he wouldn't let me pass. Like, I don't even know what that is. I was like, sir, you let her go past. Why can't I go past? And then he was
Right.
privileged. You're not privileged.
Hold on a second, because I want to update so we don't get too far out the loop. Tenzel says she don't have a car or access to a person with a car. So what I want to ask her is, public transportation still running well in New York? And then I want to ask Alex Doe, do you have any questions for Pooh?
No, I
Okay.
like when Pooh freestyle. She just put out there, what she know and what she's seeing.
Okay. I just want to make sure we all in the
Like
same
over
room.
here in New York, I can tell where the money at because they allow you to protest, but you can't protest past 96th Street. So that's where all of the major stuff is at. They'll let you do from 96 on down to Brooklyn Bridge, but if you go past 96th Street, you're going right to jail.
She said something that you said too about certain zip codes be getting a hall pass and things of that nature. I noticed you had indicated that same thing.
Yeah, whatever resources they giving out, if you don't live in a certain zip code, you don't get it. And basically, it's in the white community. Whatever they giving out, none of it made it round to the hood or low income.
Okay, go Pooh.
And that, and then he wanted this he wanted to argue with me. And I'm like, I'm on my way to work. I wasn't going to get shot tonight on my way to work, because if I would have argued with him, it's like 5 or 6 of them and it's one of me.
You
And we
better
know
know it.
they can cut off that camera and kill us. Come on, let's be realistic. Some people, they want to do this rah and all this extra, but sometimes when the police are talking, you want to be as quiet as you can, because you say that wrong thing and bam, you're out of here. And everybody are not blessed to have a camera where people can see what's going on. What about the people with no camera? And they're
Or what about when it's happening to you? Ain't nobody around that have the courage to videotape the evidence. They just getting themselves out of harm's way, leaving you to deal with it the best way you can.
You better know it. What about the times when you're trying to roll the camera and they telling you, get out of here before we get you? And they take off running. I've seen that too. Somebody pull out their camera, they be done slap them down. Get out of here before we jump on you. They get that phone up and keep it moving. Everybody is not always able to get footage of what they see, because most of the time you don't want them to see you recording it.
People are getting sick and tired of being mistreated. I mean, people always say that cut the bus pipes. Everybody's not gonna agree with everything. It's to be expected, but everybody has their breaking point. And it's sad that it took so long for people to say, you know what, this is it. But people are generally just sick and tired of going through the same situation. You got people that's in the middle of the confusion, and they don't even know why they in the middle of the confusion, other than we black, they white, they Spanish. This is what my family taught me. This is what I learned in school. This is what I see what's going on. So I just got to pick a side. They don't know why they in the middle of this.
exactly. And it's the look that they give me when I'm driving. And it's like, I'm like, really? Because now, I mean, I don't have anything against everything. I can understand. I totally agree with certain things and I disagree with certain things. But as far as the loochers, it's like taking it so far fetched. They're like doing the most right. So when they see my black skin, it's like, okay, it makes me want to park my car and get into like a hoopty because now I look like, okay, I'm just shining like a light. And I'm just like, wow, because I don't know what they're going to do next. But again, and that's go for every black person in America, wherever you're from. You do not want to overtalk these police officers because everybody, it's not going to be on tape for everybody. Some people are blessed. You know, George was blessed. You know, but whatever happens, I mean, you got to always think about your family. You got to think about you have somewhere to be. You know, you don't want to be 6 foot deep because you got to get the last word. You want to show, you want to flex. I mean, your life is worth more than a flex. So you don't want to go out here talking to these polices and blah blah blah. You're this and that. I'm black. I'm this and blah blah. Nobody wants to hear that. You know, save it
But
because
it saddens me that he was not doing any of that.
no. But
He was so humble.
I'm saying with some people, Queen, they will just
Right.
they get on that rah rah with the police. And I know a lot of times we are disrespected, but we got to set ourselves in a way where we can live another day, is what I'm saying. Because you don't want to be, F you and blah, blah, because you want to curse on your platform. You don't want to be F you, you over, you did this wrong. You know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. But all that talking and that good stuff, man, it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad. So, and that's why I tell black people, we got to do better. Try not to say too much. Just pray that you get out of situation. I know you feel some type of way and you feel like you have a voice, but in certain situations, you just got to swallow your pride just to make it home. Because I could have been dead, you know, yesterday to be exact, if I would have just snapped out like really, even though I was wrong, I mean, I was in the right, and he was in the wrong. If I argued with that guy, trying to stand on and talking about this freedom of speech, I would on this platform and discuss what I went through. So sometimes us as a whole, we need to just basically just calm down a little bit and just try to make it home. That's all I'm saying. You are entitled to disagree with what I'm saying. I'm not arguing with no one. I'm just saying how it is out there because when they have those guns on you, your kids can't, can't save you. Your mom can't, your dad can't save you. That one gunshot, you out of there. So at the end of the day, just protect yourself and just try to make it home and try to talk, try as best as you possibly can when you're in that predicament. That's just my opinion. So,
Right.
um,
I hear you. I
thank you.
hear you. You can do the
Well,
best you
people
can,
know,
but
but this ain't going nowhere. No time
hold
soon.
on. I want to
Watch
ask
the
Pooh a
next
question.
move be a civil disobedience. Watch.
Let me ask Pooh a question. Pooh, are they still protesting in Chicago?
Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes.
So what is the protest for at this point?
The protest is for George, but you can always have people taking it a little too far, and that's where it got too far. This is actually for George. People are taking it too far, but they're going to protest as long as we don't know when they just let down for us to even get to work. It was hard to get to work. They're like shutting down everything. I'm like, really? I'm like 30 minutes late one day, just trying to get to work, and I was trying to get past. And you got officers that's gonna talk to you nice, and you got some rule like, "Why are you going?" In so many words, when they say "Why are you going," that really means you don't belong here. Sometimes you gotta read the lines when they say "Why are you going." That's saying you don't belong here with the N word attached. But that's why I say you got to know how to talk to people in this life. In this life of ours, we really gotta learn people in a way where we won't get shot, and that's not us. But when you have family, sometimes you gotta swallow your pride to make it home. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
But what happens when you are being humble and then they still physically assault you?
It's
What
life.
would you suggest?
Life is you just gotta hold, just gotta pray mentally in your head. That's it, because you already know that they are against us and not with us. But just think about it. You would die quicker talking Oh, get out of my face. You're wrong. You're wrong. You see what I'm saying? You're damned if you don't. But you're pushing the envelope even more when you're talking to these people, and it's all of them against you. And what can you do? Even if you had a gun to pull it out, what you can say that you shot in the air, you didn't get a chance to kill nobody. They was already, you know. So the best is to say as best as you can. That's it. I mean, what am I being put over for? You can say that, but it's the way you say it. You're trying to make it home. You're trying to make it to your location. The best, because think about it. If you're doing all this talking, you got a daughter, you got a son, you got a mom, you got a grandma, you got people to take care of you, got people that's depending on you. We got it hard anyway. And I'm not saying, that they're right. I'm just saying, is it worth your life?
Okay.
I look at it like this. A lot of people that has not experienced hateful discrimination, they can't relate to or identify with what other people are going through. Why? Because it never happened to them. So they can't give you no first-hand knowledge, information, or feelings about how they feel about a certain situation. Nobody never did these things to them. Nobody keep they foot on their neck all the time. So all they can look at is from a privileged perspective what they think is right and wrong. But let somebody just keep treating you bad and doing wrong things to you, then you get the bigger picture. I find it to be amazing that people just say, well, they don't do it to me, so I don't care.
Yeah.
People don't experience certain things, they can't identify with people that go through that type of stuff all day, every day.
You're right. When I first came to North Carolina from New York City, right, the gentleman and I that I was with at the time, we were driving vehicles with New York City plates on them because we had drove down, in New York City vehicles. And every time we went out, we kept getting pulled over. So we called his dad and we said, yo, it's like these cars is getting pulled over left and right, no matter what time of the day.
We told you change some tags.
That's right. We had New York City license plates. And every time they would see that New York City license plate, they would pull us over. New York must be bad in the South because, everybody was pulling us over. We couldn't go nowhere without getting pulled over. So sure enough, the next day we got up early and we went and changed the plates out, right? Haven't been pulled over since. So it go to show how there's certain things that can make you a target without you even realizing you are a target. And I couldn't understand. I said, how these cops, they not pulling over nobody else. And after they would get all our information, they would let us go. But we would go a little while and all day, every day, we was being pulled over. It didn't even dawn on us that we had New York City tags. And that's what was they was New York, pull them over. Let's make sure none of them New Yorkers don't come down here with no mess. Let me see your paperwork. Do you got your license, registration, and so on and so forth? But see, I always was taught, and if you don't know this, please follow this instruction. If you're driving a vehicle, always have your license and registration and insurance very handy where you can get to it quick. Don't have to be shuffling around looking for it because things can go bad for you.
Yeah, you don't move one too many
That's
times.
right. Always have your stuff where when they get to that window, you already got it in your hand and you can pass it up. I'm passing you my information, officer. This is our information. You start shuffling around, hold on, I gotta look under the seat. Hey, hold on, I gotta go in the glove box. Now, bow, they don't panic.
Right.
Always have your stuff where you can get it and hand it straight to them. Even if you put it in something and sit it on your dashboard, you get pulled over, boom, here you go. And that's the one good thing that helped me. I always had my paperwork handy. Here you go.
They racist to begin with.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody pull you over, as soon as they see that you black, they hold Tarina chain. Look at the dude that was at the protest. He's a federal agent. They threw him down and cuffed him and locked him up. He was like, I'm FBI, shut up. Now they get his credentials. Now they like, oh wow, we got the wrong one. He was really an FBI agent.
Yes. Yes,
But
they
he was
went off
black.
so bad. They went off so bad they even started abusing the journalists and the news reporters. They tell them,
Yeah,
we're
they do that
journalists.
too.
They just,
You know
get
why?
on out of here.
Because
No,
some of them
boom, hit.
journalists and news reporters, they be covering the story and then they see them kicking some old man down the stairs. One dude in a walker, they push them down and they start recording that. They don't want them to record stuff like that. They jumped on him and beat him up. Look at his face. The other one, they shot up with bullets and all kind of nonsense.
Yeah, I saw that.
In Chicago,
But they saying they didn't do it.
and it's worse in Chicago. Like,
Over here,
Hold on, Alex. Hold on. What you said, Pooh?
but like you said before, Queen, you gotta have your paper ready for them. And let's say, just like you said earlier, if George, that's his name, right? George, I can't remember the last name.
George, yes, George Floyd.
Yeah, Floyd, because I always got close to Floyd Mayweather or something like that. But one thing about it, what if George was like moving around aggressive? They would have shot him. If they put their knee on his neck for 9 minutes, imagine if he was like, you know, aggressive, they'd have shot him really quick. You see what I'm saying? So that they was to kill him, it would just have been a lot bigger. Head would have been. That's why I tell us as a whole, we just got to be careful because that's what they want. They want. So that's just my.
But I think that's what upset me the most because he didn't do anything to cause that to happen to him. He was so humble, and to watch someone, even when you're being humble, be just done that way is just. I can't even find a word for it. It's just out of here.
It was
that
true.
man did nothing wrong. He did everything right. He even told him, I can't breathe. I restricted my breathing. He was hollering for his mama. What else could he have done?
They were saying if he can talk, he can still breathe.
Yeah.
Over here, they arrested a bunch of cops. They running people over with cars, everything. You protesting, they tell you to move, you don't move, they slide right over you. They done arrested 10 of them.
Where are you from,
How
Alex?
you gonna run somebody over? You just mowing down people.
Alex, where are you from?
And they videoed it.
Hold on. What you said, Pooh?
Where Alex from? Alex, where are you from?
Where are you from, Alex?
New York City.
What part of New York?
Yeah, okay.
Brooklyn.
I got it. That's how we can relate. Yeah,
and let me tell you something, honey. When you get to New York City and all crap bust loose, all crap bust loose. Do you hear me?
One thing, if you ain't about your business, you better go home with the non-violent people before it gets dark. Because if you out here at dark, that means you a goon. You ready to put boots on the ground.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I worked the late shift, and I was so afraid. I'm like, I damn near panicked. I was mad. Like I almost lost my life in a snap because.
These police over here getting the business. If you cut the news on now, they shooting them, they stabbing them. They ain't talking no more. They over here putting work in.
And you know what? It's sad that it comes to that.
These cops, they lighting their cars on fire. They throwing bombs in their car with them sitting in it. They going in over here.
That's why we have to get order, and it's imperative that the commissioners and the governments and the mayors and the president, find a better way, because as a police officer, you're taking on oath.
It works over here when they do certain things and they tell the commissioner or the deputy commissioner or the bureau chief and they ignore it, the next day they come out, they tear something else up even worse.
Or when they pulling rank on each other.
And say that they not doing nothing wrong, and that further agitates people. You done kicked down some old man on a walk. Come on. The dude standing on the steps, you telling them it's 8 o'clock, you just kick him down the stairs. Now people start fighting, now you want to start locking people up. You accusing people.
But I'll say this also to the ones that are leading a protest, to safeguard the people that are supporting your protest. And if 8 o'clock has a curfew, then you need to end that protest in time enough for the people to get back into their homes without having to go through breaking that curfew.
That's for them. What we do when they say it's 8 o'clock, we act like we don't hear. Everybody's not, well, I didn't kneel down. I was like, I ain't going to be kneeling down, and you start going upside my head. When they told people to leave, they just got down on one knee. We ain't doing nothing. We ain't breaking into nothing. We not being violent. We got a right to demonstrate and protest, and that's what we doing. Well, we say at 8 o'clock it can't happen no more. And they just got down on one knee, and then you had other dudes. We were just standing around like, nah, we ain't going nowhere.
So what happened at that point?
This morning.
So what happened at that point?
They was beating people up, arresting people, running people over with cars. Then next thing you know, some shooting started carrying on, stabbings, and it just got critical. By the time it started getting light, I just was like, okay, a lot of people was leaving. I left. I got back in the house about 6 o'clock this morning. A lot of times you got to be mindful of what you're doing. You got some people, they were saying out there and they were chant, no justice, no peace. But you can't depend on them to start fighting these police when they start going upside somebody's head. So you got to be mindful of what march you partake in. Because if somebody just want to carry some signs and say no justice, no peace, or I can't breathe, and if they get to putting hands and feet on them, they trying to run somewhere. And you might want to pick through another crowd. Don't go with these people. They protesting in a whole different capacity than we are. We willing to fight. We don't put some work in. Don't put your hands on me. None of that.
Big facts. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, let me just say this. For those who may be,
we wasn't a couple of hundred. We was out there by the thousands.
Any protest you go to, even if it's a peaceful protest, always be mindful that anything can bust loose at any moment in time. And if you're not willing to go all out, then you don't need to be in a protest. Because anything can happen when you're in a protest. You set out to be peaceful.
If the cause of this movement was based on violence, you're going to have to expect some violence to go down. You can't address violence with peace. Not all the time. If the cause of this movement was perpetuated by the means of violence, then you should be aware that somewhere along the line it's going to be some violence. So if this is not what you signed up for, when it starts getting dark, you're going back home with the rest of the people.
Right.
Leave the people out here that's willing to do this. Let us stay out here and do this. If you ain't fighting back and you ain't defending yourself, okay, it's getting dark. Y'all go home. We got it here. Right. Take your sons and your chant and go on home. Whoever out here this time, we willing to fight.
I agree. You always got to be willing to go all in on. It's no halfway in. When you're in a protest, you set out for good, but you got to always remember everybody is not going to do the right thing. And if you're the leader of a protest, it's your responsibility to try to control your crowd. But sometimes it will get out of your control, and all you can do is step back and try your best to keep people as safe as you can.
And you're trying to record them doing stuff to people, that's grounds for you to get beat up too. You just recording them abusing people's rights, and they see you doing it, and then a bunch of them will turn on you and throw you down and stomp you out. And then the next thing you know, a bunch of people in the crowd jumping on them.
And then those that get off of work,
they have the nerve to tell you, 10 officers was injured. But you ain't telling nobody what they doing to people.
Right.
Don't just act like they innocent and people out here hitting them in the head with bricks and shooting them for nothing. They doing stuff to bring this onto themselves.
Right.
And my thing is this.
Oh, they defenseless. You not defenseless. Y'all the only ones out here with guns. Most of y'all.
But you
So
know what?
how you defenseless? You out here jumping on people.
Hold on, Alex. Hold on. Okay,
I,
go, Pooh.
no, what I do, Alex and Queen. I just pray. I lost my mom. Her birthday is today, and my thing is thank you so much for allowing me to speak on your platform, Queen. You guys have a great night and make sure you're careful and be safe. And thanks again because like right now, we'll go through the grieving and stuff. It's her birthday today. So yes, I want to stop by and just see what's going on. I haven't spoke with you, Queen, in a minute, you know. And I'm happy that
Right.
you're doing fine. You look nice as usual, as always. And have a great night and be
Well, thank you for coming in and blessed wishes to your mom. And stay
thank you.
safe and do what you got to do, baby. That's all I can tell you. Be careful out there in them streets. And
I
thanks
know.
for coming to the village. God
Thank
bless you.
thank you, Sam. Likewise.
That was Pooh, everybody.
It's
And
rough. I mean, sometimes you don't know where you fit in at.
it is hard because I'm not a violent person by nature anymore. I will really try my best to be the voice of reason. If I can say, hey, y'all, let's just go, let's just leave, I will do that. But at the same token in time, I've always been taught to defend myself. And I've always taught mine to defend themselves. You know when you're in a situation where you're not going to walk away. You can feel a vibe and you know your instinct tell you you get ready to have to fight your way up out of this. And always follow that spirit because I always say that ain't nothing but the Holy Spirit telling you better get ready because you get ready to be in for a ride if you don't do what you have to do. And it's bad when you have to think that way when it comes to higher up and people that are in control.
I look at it like this. If you arresting 90 or at least 100 people every night and by the morning you let them all go, what are you arresting them for? You just wasting time and manpower. What are you arresting 100 people for if by the morning they all back out? That means they didn't do anything. And somebody needs to file a lawsuit about that.
But when they letting everybody go, that's just to let you know that you didn't really do an infraction. Because
okay, but now you done beat all these people up, and to cover your behind, you done arrested them, but you let them go in the morning, but everybody beat up.
Another form of intimidation, hoping that because whatever happened to them, they would be discouraged to come back out the next day and protest again. Because a lot of people are not strong.
That's just a handful that was smart enough to get a lawyer and try to get some action going. There's a bunch of people they done beat up and let go that don't went and sat down there. A bunch of them.
Of course, because you also got to take into consideration that a lot of people that's out here that's protesting, they work for the state, they work for the city. You know, they have jobs that an arrest can be a problem. So they're looking at it like, okay, I want to take a stand, but I want to also be able to take care of my family. And I cannot lose my job because I want justice. I have to find another way. And I understand those that's going through that also. Because I've been in those shoes many a times too, where I had to back down because I just couldn't take it no further, knowing I had to take care of my family. And at the end of the day, when all is said and done, nobody is going to be giving you any finances to get back where you need to be at, you know, when you done messed up your whole entire life.
I think it's bad reprisal and retaliation when somebody go out there and protest, they get arrested, they lose their job, they get evicted. You don't qualify for unemployment because you was terminated because of criminal action. Now you homeless, ain't got no job, nothing.
And some jobs tell you when they hire you that you can't be a part of a protest.
How you evict somebody and fire somebody because they was protesting? They say some jobs tell you can't get involved with none of this stuff.
Right. I've worked on jobs that was like that. They would tell you you can't be involved in a protest or anything of that nature, and if you are, you will be fired. And if they see you on that news, you going out of that job, they're gonna fire you. You cannot be
I
there.
found that to be rough. Because
Yeah.
why the people did the landlord evicted them? What that got to do with you exercising your right? You gotta lose your job and your place to stay.
And don't
That
forget,
make a bunch of other people stay home.
don't forget that also we're in the middle of a pandemic, and a lot of people are putting their health on the line, being in those close corners with or without masks, with or without gloves. Because even with a mask, it's not 100% that you're not going to catch something because you have the mask on. That's just to help assist and combat, but it's not 100%. So now we got all these people that had to get out here and protest. Let me be back, but I don't want to say that got out here for justice protesting, and now
said later for that quarantine going out.
Right. So now, when everything is all said and done, there may be so many people that put themselves at risk to catch COVID-19 as a result of trying to seek justice as well. So that's to show you how serious this matter is. When people saying, I don't even care, I'm out here fighting for the cause that I believe in. And standing up for what you believe in is not a bad thing. Sometimes you do have to say, you know what?
I know one thing.
Somebody got to do it.
They ain't just deep over here. They deep all over the world. I've seen pictures from other places. They deep out there too.
And guess what? A lot of them could have been through the same thing with their loved one, or maybe some of them might have been through it and survived it. Not everyone, absolutely leave here. But even after they realized he wasn't breathing, I don't even believe anyone tried to resuscitate him.
They did.
So that shows you something else.
Intentional murder. I was mad when they gave him murder 3. I said that was self-harm misdemeanor. That ain't no murder.
But I do believe that more charges definitely need to come forth. And I want to, take a little time later to find out exactly what the other officers was charged with, because I didn't really get a chance to look into that before I got on here. But I will look into it later and see exactly what they were charged with.
They said murder in the second degree and manslaughter.
For the other officers?
Yeah, that ain't nothing major.
And the main officer, what was he charged with? The same thing?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Only thing that showed me is you leaving room for the manslaughter, and depending on what degree you put it in, you can cop out the probation or 2 years for that.
Right, because before you know anything, it'll just be, we just gonna drop it down to manslaughter. They good for that. They excellent for that. And especially if you don't have any other offenses.
Who did that other autopsy talking about he had a heart attack and was high on drugs.
And they need to bring that person up on charges also. Exactly. They need to look into that because they failed to do their job.
They both came to the same conclusion, but this other person said it was a heart attack and drugs. I would sue them.
Absolutely. If
3 doctors do it, and 2 of them say it was because of that pressure on his neck, and 1 say it was a heart attack, no, it wasn't. I believe he was from the police department.
Well, I definitely would look into it if I was the family. Once everything stopped moving, I will file a civil suit because they have every right.
Documents, tamper with evidence.
You're going to put your license on the line for something like that.
You just said that to try to clear the room. That man ain't died from a heart attack and no
Well, I want to say this to the families that are going through this out there. not just George Floyd family, because there's so many families going through this same thing right now as we speak. You know, I pray that each and every one of you get justice. I pray that this can be resolved some kind of way. And I ask God to be our ultimate interceder in Jesus' name. I pray that the children that have lost their parents due to this will be ultra blessed and will not be scarred by this and will be able to live in a society that they will not have to witness this same behavior. And for us that are in so much pain right now, from wherever we sit or stand, lay, that God will, release that pain and allow us to be okay. I know it takes time. For some of us that have become bitter as a result of just one abusive thing after the other taking place, Lord, just help us. And I want to say this.
Are so believing of law enforcement and the court system that whatever they tell them, they think is the truth. Even people, family, when stuff be happening, they say, well, the police says you did, I didn't do it. Well, they ain't got no reason to lie. You did it. I'm telling you I didn't do that. You did it.
And I want to, give me a second. I'm going to let you end before I finish because I want to say these things before I leave my stream. I want to say to those of you that have called in and that have, just come into this live stream to say whatever you needed to say or just support the stream, thank you. Whether I agree or disagree, I thank you for coming in and letting your opinion be heard. What you feel be heard. Because it's important whether we agree or disagree that we're heard. And we can touch people all over the universe. And I want to say to the officers out there that are good officers, continue to protect and serve because we do acknowledge that there are good officers out there too. And don't just go for the ones that's bad. We want to shout out to the officers out there that are absolutely good officers. And they get up every day and come out and protect and serve and do their job and go home to their families. To my brother, Alex Doe, my Brody, thank you for calling in and thank you for being a voice for the people, for them to hear, as well as Tin Bells and Pool. And I want to end my stream with letting you say whatever it is that you have to say. That is your last words. What would it be?
Well, a lot of times, unless we happen to be the token few that have some money, when something happens to us, we don't have a real means of complaining to somebody to get our voice heard because we have no voice. And that's why a lot of things go unknown or unchallenged because we don't have the means or the resources to get out there to complain because the same people that make the rules is not going to help you when you're complaining about things. So with that being said, just do the best that you can to be careful and to safeguard the security of you and yours. Thank you for listening, and everybody have a good day and be safe.
Thank you, Alex Doe. We appreciate it. We absolutely appreciate your insight and wisdom. And I want to say this, rest in paradise to George Floyd. Rest in paradise. And I may have another stream another time with some updates. But I just want George Floyd family to know he didn't die in vain. And I do believe that changes will come as a result of him. I do feel that in my spirit that we're going to get some changes, that this young man's situation is going to bring some changes this way. And I just want to say to all of you that came in, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for your time. And to all of you that will watch this on the playback, thank you very much for taking out the time to support this stream. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all and have a good day.